a lot of times these guys are the most lonely of all because they're surrounded by an environment of fake people that are actually draining their energy. Now, this isn't in all cases, but we can all think of the alcoholic husband, the stoner dad, the dad that gets home and just plops on the couch and drinks a 6-pack of beer. What's up, guys? So in today's video, we're going to be talking about loneliness and how to deal with it as a man. Now, I'm sure a lot of you guys have dealt with loneliness at some point in your life. Who hasn't dealt with loneliness, especially guys that tend to gravitate towards this type of content? I myself found this content because I was a lonely individual after my breakup, and even before I got in that relationship, I was a lonely young man. And because I was a lonely young man, I was seeking to put the puzzle pieces together of a broken childhood through attracting a woman that I knew would break me and replay that cycle of negativity over and over again. And I continued even after that relationship to pursue and engage in relationships that replay trauma cycles from the ages of 14 to 15 all the way till now. And fortunately, recently, and I'm still working on this because we're all continuously working on this journey we call life, because life, you're constantly evolving, nothing ever stays the same, it's always changing, and with that change, you're constantly having to evolve a new paradigm and upgrade your mentality and your focus for life. But what I've had to do, and what I believe will help you, especially if you're a young man that's dealing with this, is understanding that it's totally acceptable and okay to be lonely, and that actually you should view loneliness as a blissful, peaceful state of mind, especially when you're young, that is fleeting. Because when you're tied down, you can ask older guys that are in long-term relationships or that have maybe been divorced and they're now single again. When you're bogged down in a relationship, and this is not to say that all relationships are extremely draining and negative, not to say that all relationships are like this, but if you look at the modern day woman, if you look at how she lives her lifestyle, the types of media she watches, the types of ways she's been subconsciously programmed since childhood by her parents. We're going to talk about that a lot on this channel, about subconscious programming. But just in general, if you look at that, a lot of these guys get into relationships with broken people because they themselves, like I was at one point, was a broken person, and I'm still recovering. I'm not perfect. But you get attracted to other broken people that need to constantly go through trauma. And usually, unfortunately, if you're watching content like this consistently, you're actually breaking out of that trauma. And if you're in a relationship right now, if you continue watching content like this is what happened to me. You'll find yourself breaking free from that trauma and leaving that other person behind you. And this is something that is very hard to do when you're in a relationship and you're not alone. And a lot of us that have found this content while in relationships will actually end up leaving the person we're with while we're on our journey towards self-improvement, because we're just constantly growing and expanding our minds at such a rapid clip that honestly that other person's kind of like a weight holding us down in the middle of an ocean. And we need to go to the island over there, but they're stuck wanting to sit in the middle of the ocean and tie more and more weights to our ankle. And the sad thing is, a lot of times the partner that's drowning in the middle of the ocean doesn't even see the island nor the weight that they're burdening you with or themselves. They're so lost and drowning, just the waves are just covering their face as they're barely gasping for air. They don't even know what it's like to be in such a state of bliss and release from this sick society that they're willing to just drag you down with them. And they're not even doing it on purpose, so you can't judge them for it. Just get away from them. And it's not like you hate them and you're going to call them out. No, you just go take the weight off your ankle, which is them, and go to that island and get the hell out of the water. Especially nowadays, guys. It's so important that you do this. It's just for your mental sanity and the craziness that's going on in the world. You have to guard yourself. You have to guard your mind. You have to guard the influences around you. But what I want you to realize is my biggest growth opportunities, the best ideas I ever had, the way that I escaped some of the matrix so far, and we're still working on it. It's a constant change. The way that I was able to do that was recharging during periods of loneliness, not feeling sorry for myself, but buckling down and doing what needed to be done, whether I felt like it or not, and not allowing those negative influences of a toxic relationship. Even though I wanted intimacy, even though I wanted someone to sleep next to at night and wake up with at night and do all these fun things with, I'd rather be doing that sometimes. I realized the sick state of society and how most women these days are a burden. They're lost, they're confused, and they're going to drag you down and distract you from what you could accomplish in this life. And you're going to be an old man laying in a nursing home thinking and replaying what could have been. But you yourself couldn't resist being in a relationship. So just think about that. Do you want that to be you at the end of your life? A lot of times you'll notice this. Your biggest breakthroughs come when you're lonely and you have nothing, no nagging wife, no girlfriend, no toxic relationship, no toxic people in your life constantly on your mind, no toxic employees. It's just you in a state of dialed in focus. And what you're able to do from there is magnificent because you have a clear workspace in your mind. And I'll leave you on this note. Even though some men might be in relationships and seem like they have the perfect life with a perfect wife, girlfriend, they have an abundant social life, and all these people just love them, and they don't seem lonely at all. A lot of times, these guys are the most lonely of all because they're surrounded by an environment of fake people that are actually draining their energy. Now, this isn't in all cases, but we can all think of the alcoholic husband, the stoner dad, the dad that gets home and just plops on the couch and drinks a 6-pack of beer to drown out the mistakes that he made by getting into a relationship or not pursuing his own dreams because he couldn't stand being alone and what that might mean for a few years in order to build something amazing. So don't think for one moment that your loneliness is something to be ashamed of as a man. In fact, it might be the exact thing you need. And I believe that everything does happen for a reason. And that this period of your life, if you're in a state where you're lonely, this might be the best thing that could happen to you in order to really figure out what you want to do with this life and then get it done without any distractions. Because life's always throwing curveballs, guys. You could be hooking up with a girl tomorrow and be a father in 9 months from now, and that loneliness period goes away. Then you have full-on responsibilities. You know, you could end up moving out of your house if you still live at home, and then you have full-on responsibility for your bills. You could be 25, you're not 26 yet, and then you turn 26. You have bills and healthcare and all this stuff, and you have full-on responsibilities, and you're not lonely. Because then it becomes even harder to cope with that loneliness. But you have this opportunity right now to do so. Embrace it, view it as an opportunity to recharge, a period of self-reflection, and a period to do exactly what you want to do whenever you want to do it before life takes a hold of you. I love you all. Stay blessed. Have a good one.